The aircraft you're looking at is the B-24J Liberator, one of the most influential machines of World War II, yet also one of the most misunderstood. While the B-17 Flying Fortress often receives the spotlight, it was the B-24 that carried the heavier burden, flying longer distances, delivering more bombs, and fighting across more fronts than any other American heavy bomber. Today, we explore the origin, design, combat history, legendary missions, and lasting legacy of the B-24J. This is the story of the Liberator, the bomber that helped win a global war. The story begins in 1938, when the United States Army Air Corps approached the Consolidated Aircraft Company with a challenge: create a bomber with better range, speed, and payload capacity than the B-17. It sounded almost impossible, but Consolidated engineers, led by Isaac M. Ladden, proposed a bold design unlike anything that came before. Instead of the traditional rounded wings of earlier bombers, they introduced the Davis wing, a long, narrow, highly efficient airfoil that produced exceptional lift with minimal drag. This single innovation would define the B-24's capabilities. The military wanted longer range. The Davis wing delivered. They wanted more bomb load. The B-24 offered it, and they wanted superior speed. The Liberator would eventually outperform most of its contemporaries. The prototype, designated XB-24, first flew on December 29, 1939. Despite early issues, the aircraft showed enormous potential. The United States had found its next-generation heavy bomber. What made the B-24 so advanced for its time? First, its twin-tail design gave it excellent stability. Second, its four Pratt & Whitney R-1830 twin Wasp engines provided power and reliability. And third, its tricycle landing gear, nose wheel in front, main wheels behind, was rare for the era and allowed smoother takeoffs and landings. But the most famous feature remained the Davis wing. Although it offered unmatched efficiency, it came with drawbacks. The long, narrow shape gave the B-24 a tendency to stall abruptly, making it more challenging to fly compared to the B-17. Still, what the B-24 lacked in graceful handling, it made up for in raw performance. Maximum range, up to 2,100 miles maximum speed, about 290 km per hour. Payload, 8,000 pounds of bombs, sometimes even more crew. Usually 10 men by 1941, the B-24 was ready for war, and the world was about to change. When the United States entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the B-24 quickly became one of the country's most important aircraft. Because of its long range, it was chosen for missions that other bombers simply couldn't reach. It hunted submarines in the Atlantic. It patrolled vast stretches of the Pacific. It delivered critical strikes deep inside enemy territory. One of the earliest and most dramatic uses of the B-24 came in the Pacific, where Liberators defended Allied shipping lanes against Japanese submarines and naval forces. Meanwhile, in the European theater, B-24s joined the intense strategic bombing campaign against Germany, targeting oil refineries, rail networks, industrial centers, and military factories. The Liberator became a workhorse of the war. If one mission defines the B-24's legacy, it is Operation Tidal Wave, the low-level bombing raid on the Ploiești oil refineries in Romania. On August 1, 1943, 178 B-24s launched from North Africa to strike the heavily defended oil fields that supplied nearly a third of Germany's fuel. The mission was one of the most daring and deadly of the war. B-24 crews flew at wave-top height, only 100 feet above the ground, through intense anti-aircraft fire and enemy fighters. Though the attack caused severe damage to the refineries, the Liberators suffered enormous losses. 53 aircraft were lost, more than 600 airmen were killed, captured, or missing. Ploiești would go down in history as one of the most heroic and costly missions ever flown. Other B-24s played vital roles in the bombing of Nazi Germany's oil production anti-submarine patrols and the Battle of the Atlantic, supporting D-Day Operation supply drops to resistance fighters in Europe. The B-24 was everywhere. In the Pacific, the B-24 became the dominant American heavy bomber. Its long range allowed it to strike Japanese bases thousands of miles apart, from the jungles of New Guinea to the islands of the Philippines and the Marianas. B-24s conducted long-range bombing missions against Japanese strongholds, weather reconnaissance flights, anti-shipping patrols, raids on oil fields and air bases across Southeast Asia. The Liberator's reach helped break Japanese supply lines and weaken their defensive perimeter. For the men who flew it, the B-24 was both a powerful machine and a dangerous workplace. Inside the aircraft, temperatures could drop far below freezing. The narrow catwalk above the bomb bay was so thin that crewmen sometimes crawled across it during flight. Enemy fighters and anti-aircraft guns were constant threats. A standard crew included pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, engineer, top turret gunner, radio operator, ball turret gunner, 2 waist gunners, tail gunner. Each man had a specific role, and every mission required total teamwork. Thousands of crewmen gave their lives flying the Liberator. Their courage remains one of the aircraft's greatest legacies. The aircraft shown in your photo is the B-24J, one of the most produced versions of the Liberator. Introduced in 1943, the B-24J featured an improved Norden bomb sight, enhanced defensive gun turrets, more advanced autopilot equipment, upgraded electrical and hydraulic systems. This variant became the standard bomber used by the USAAF in both Europe and the Pacific. By the end of the war, more than 18,400 B-24s had been built, making it the most produced American military aircraft in history. Factories across the United States, most famously Ford's massive Willow Run plant, manufactured the bomber at unprecedented speed. At its peak, Willow Run produced 1 B-24 every 63 minutes. The B-24 Liberator may not always receive the same admiration as the B-17, but its impact is undeniable. It flew more missions, carried more bombs, and served in more theaters of war than any other American bomber of World War II. It helped turn the tide in the Atlantic, break the back of German industry, and bring down Japanese strongholds across the Pacific. Today, only a small number of B-24s survive, many restored by dedicated volunteers and aviation museums. They stand as reminders of the pilots, crewmen, and engineers whose bravery and innovation shaped the course of history. The story of the B-24J Liberator is not just the story of a machine, it is the story of the people who built it, fought in it, and sacrificed everything for the world we live in today.